Hello and welcome to NewsClick. Panama Papers are in the news and they have brought up a discussion on tax havens. Today we have with us Prabir Purkayasth to talk about tax havens. Prabir, what are tax havens?
Well, tax havens have really two purposes. One is, of course, as the very name implies, they have very low taxation or even no taxation. Number of them, therefore, really don't levy any tax for any transaction income that takes place on their shores, within their shores. I'll talk about that a little later. The second is a lot of them, and in fact most of them, also anonymize who are the account holders, who are the owners of companies if such are registered, who are the trustees if a trust is registered. So they also are used to anonymize the money that comes in. And quite often, therefore, people who bring such money in then take it out to other places, and therefore that flow of money becomes anonymous and goes into normal banking channels, into other companies, and so on. So these two functions taken together is what really constitutes a tax haven.
But what is generally felt is that money goes into a tax haven. How do tax havens actually work?
Well, tax havens really do not store any money, unlike the belief that when it goes to Panama or it goes to Bermuda or it goes to Cayman Islands, money is actually stored there. That is not true. What happens is money is siphoned from such places into the normal banking system. So effectively they are used by financial institutions to get in all kinds of money, including black money, criminal money, and so on, into the banking system. So that is one role that the tax havens play in terms of the financial system. And of course, as you know, a lot of the criminal money, whether it's mafia money, cocaine money, heroin money, and all this kind of money which is also used by drug mafia, they get from drug running the money they get, bribes, kickbacks, political figures, all that money also goes into tax havens, and through them they go into normal financial institutions. So the banking institutions have actually worked with criminal figures, with such figures, political figures, and so on, to convert black money and criminal money into ultimately quote unquote white money.
What are the implications of the Panama Papers on a developing country like India?
Obviously, for countries like India, what should have come as a part of either taxes that should have been levied, then do not get into the coffers of the country. The second, of course, is, as you know, a huge number of people use this route to both take kickbacks and also do what is called transfer pricing. So, for instance, there is a case right now which the Department of Revenue Intelligence is looking into, which is 5 major power producing companies, Ambani's being one of them, Adani's. They have over invoiced the coal imports coming into the country to the tune of 29,000 crores. So what happens to this 29,000 crores is quite often through different transactions done abroad. This money then enters into some company which is registered, say, in Panama, Cayman Islands, Bermudas, British Virgin Islands, a whole lot of them. And then it goes into, for instance, into Mauritius and comes back into the country. So this is also what is called round tripping, that you send essentially money out. In this case, it may not be money that you've sent out, but you've got as a result of transactions that have been done. So a whole bunch of transactions done by big business houses generate a lot of black income abroad, and that's then brought back into the country. Indian case, it comes back mostly through Mauritius and also through Singapore. 2 of them put together have more than 50% of what is called the FDI inflows into the country. So that is also the role that these kind of tax havens play with relation to countries like India. It's estimated that the outflow of money in this way is to the tune of $1 to $1.5 trillion every year. And this is, of course, a huge drain on countries like India. The second part of it is companies like Google, Facebook, and so on, who do transactions in India officially take the money in Ireland or in Bermudas or in some tax haven, they do not pay any tax in India. In fact, you'd be surprised to know that the biggest tech companies in the world, including Apple, Google, Facebook, and so on, their tax amounts that they pay wherever they are in terms of transactions done throughout the world is to the tune of 2.4% only. So the end of it, the countries who generate the income for Google, Facebook, Apple and all, they are not getting the taxes that legitimately should be getting from these companies because they're making profits out of these countries.
What do you think the Indian government's reaction to this kind of a revelation should be?
You know, the earlier record, particularly the Swiss leaks that you talked about or the leaks which came from Luxembourg, the government of India has been very lackadaisical in following it up, in not looking at who are the people who are holding these accounts, criminal cases which should be launched because the really tax avoidance is really not the word. This is really tax evasion. So all these measures that should have been taken were not taken. So we have to really see what this government does. In the heat of the moment, of course, they are saying we'll take action, we'll do this, we'll do that, but will they really follow through? The earlier record of both the UPA government as well as the BJP government has not been particularly for good in this. So I think we'll need to see what they will do in this regard. But there seems to be a fear of touching foreign capital in the country or touching big capital in the country, particularly with the kind of economic slowdown that we are seeing, that we have essentially export have collapsed, you have industrial production has fallen. With all this, that the growth of the economy seems to be stalled, though you officially report good figures, but the point is neither is industry growing, agriculture is in crisis, your exports are not growing. So the pressure on the government of India to really go soft on capital is there. And this is really big capital, both foreign and Indian capital, which is doing a lot of this part. Only one part of it is corruption. And of course, the other part is tax evasion and fraud, which is of course there. But it is also officially what a lot of big capital is doing, quote unquote, legitimately, because the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance is really having good lawyers and accountants.
Thank you, Prabir.